Intuitive Machines completed its test run of their lunar lander system, which was successful and is leading to shares rising significantly today. In the session, we're up over 15%. And just keep in mind, this stock has a short interest of 160% and is ranked as the number 2 most likely stock to have a short squeeze on Fintel. And I'll jump into those short squeeze numbers in a bit here, but let's just go into this news before we jump into what I have for the video. So first off, this is not financial advice, so please do your own research in D&D. But according to the website, the company, which was founded in 2013, currently has 3 missions that will deliver NASA and commercial payloads into orbit and on the surface of the moon. So this company is literally going to the moon, which is kind of funny to say. And then this test run represents a crucial step forward in validating the performance of the entire Nova C lunar lander system on its way to the moon, according to their CEO. And then LUNR said the complete spacecraft test run verified the Nova C's lander flight software, liquid oxygen, and liquid methane loading. So their whole system was basically just validated with this test run that took place yesterday. So awesome news for the company, and this is definitely a good reason to have shares jumping higher today, especially as the general market's kind of rolling over. So like I said, on Seeking Alpha, we have the stock listed as 160% short interest, and some of you may be thinking, how is that possible? Well, it's really just happens when there are when there's a lot of naked short selling going on, and really just kind of some schemey type of activities by hedge funds and other firms. But then when we take a look at short interest here on Fintel, we're seeing short interest as a percent of float at 21%. So this kind of tells me that Seeking Alpha's 160% is likely being pulled in because they're miscalculating the float, which would make sense. It's kind of a smaller stock. But with that being said, it's the short interest numbers are still very, very intriguing and do point to a possible short squeeze over the coming weeks. And I'll kind of run through my main thesis for that. So currently, in terms of short sales, short shares available right now, we have only 10,000, which is absolutely insane when you think about, how small that is relative to a company like AMC, which is, kind of in its own right, a stock that could have a significant short squeeze over the coming weeks, and really months. So AMC has 350,000 shares available to sell short, but LUNR only has 10,000? It actually had 0 at a point yesterday. I mean, there's basically no shares left to short. So that short pressure that we've been seeing on the stock, I think that's going to subside. I do think we could see some significant upside from a possible short squeeze on these shares here. So I'm very bullish this stock in the sense that I do believe we could see a significant short squeeze, and I like some of the fundamentals and financials, and I'll jump into that in a second. And here is what I was saying in regard to the short squeeze board. So this is Fintel here, and this is a service that I pay for. So this kind of ranks all of the stocks in the entire market and determines which stocks are most likely to have a short squeeze. And LUNR is the second most likely stock to have a short squeeze, which is kind of insane. So really seeing, it's really good to see that what I'm seeing by doing my own research into the stock is being validated by this very, very reliable and widely followed Fintel system. So keep that in mind here. LUNR is number 2 in these rankings, which is awesome to see. And then let's take a look at the chart here and see if we can't give a price prediction for shares. So unfortunately, momentum is still quite bearish, and I'll tell you why. So the 50-day moving average crossed below the 200-day moving average in early May, which does signify bearish momentum. And for those that don't know, that is basically referred to as a death cross. And the stock is still below all daily moving averages as well, which puts further shorts, further bearish momentum on the stock. So not the best sign there. But when we do look at some support and resistance, we can see that the stock did break a significant resistance level at about $10.15, which is where shares had topped out in May. It's also where shares had topped out in June. So to have a move above this level is definitely a good sign. We can see like we made a higher high on June 13th. We moved above this May 12th level. And then we made a lower low as well on July of 2023, July 5th, just earlier this month. And then we made a higher high again. So maybe we come down to this 50 DMA once again, and we kind of hold this level like we did in July and in June. So if that happens, I will be buying some shares around that level. So let's say we come down to that level. I do believe we likely move higher over the coming weeks, and that will be a situation in which I buy some shares. Another trading setup in which I buy some shares is not only if we come down to test this 50 DMA, but if we're able to move above all daily moving averages, which currently would just take a stock price of about $11.60, then I think we would likely move higher over the coming weeks as well. So really a ton of opportunities for the stock there. And this is kind of how I'm playing the stock technically when we look at the chart. I do think that's important to kind of run through. And then let's take a look at some of the fundamentals of the company. So I'll read you out an article here from Quad 7 Capital on Seeking Alpha. So I'll read you a note here. The company is likely to be flying its first mission in the third quarter of this year. The mission, expected to land on the South Pole region of the moon, is the first mission to that region of the lunar surface. It would mark the United States. It would mark the United States going back to the moon for the first time in 50 years. So this company is going to be playing a big part in the first moon landing in 50 years for the US, which is awesome. The company receives a lot of funding. A recent example is that it won NASA's OMES 3 contract, which with a contract ceiling of 719 million for 5 years, which is obviously a huge number when you consider the stock is trading around an $800 million market cap, right? So that's almost, they're in one single contract, they're getting revenue that is equal to their market cap, which kind of shows you the crazy upside that this company does have, if everything goes well, of course. And obviously today's mission is kind of the first step of all of that. So in addition to this contract, the company has notably submitted a proposal to NASA's solicitation for Near Space Network Services. And this is a 10-year multi-award contract for communication services with the goal of having and improving direct to from Earth contact and data relay, as well as navigation services around the moon. So they're playing a big part in this moon landing, which should take place, relatively soon. So Raytheon Technologies Corporations as a significant, I'll read it from the start here. They also have a prime bid with Raytheon Technology Corporations as a significant subcontractor for data relay services. You can expect much more funding in the future, especially with the successful missions. As traders, we are not looking that far ahead. See, this article is a little more trade-based, so we're looking a bit farther ahead. The company, and when we look at the financials, and I'll jump into that in a second here, the company still has a contract backlog of 156 million, and 107 million of which is expected to convert to revenue over the remainder of the year. The overall first quarter of 2023 revenue was 18 million, driven primarily by NASA's CLPS contracts with Lunar Access Services. As such, the company had an ending cash balance of $46 million, which is solid, with an additional $16 million of equity capital received in their April warrants. And then the company provided the following outlook. It expects 2023 revenue to be in the range of 174 million to 268 million, with gross profit margins around 5 to 18%. Obviously, pretty wide range. That kind of signifies the uncertainty within this stock right now. But with great risk comes great reward. So I do believe the upside potential of this stock is very solid, and I do think we're in this company has asymmetrical risk, meaning that the upside potential farly outweighs the downside risk, in my opinion. And then let's take a look at some of these financials. Obviously, the company is more of a story right now than it is a solid company on paper. Price to sales for the next 12 months are projected to be at 0.58 though, which is below the sector median, which I do like to see. And then obviously the company doesn't make any money though at this point in time, so I'll keep it moving to growth metrics. Growth metrics look amazing. So revenue growth for the past year was 14%. And revenue growth for the next 12 months is projected to be 114%. So anytime you see a stock that trades at valuations that are very high and don't make much sense when you look at the numbers, you always need to see growth rationalizing those high valuations, because why would an investor ever pay up for a company that isn't making money if they don't at least have some likelihood of moving towards profitability in the future, which this company clearly does when you take a look at their growth numbers, and fundamentally when you take a look at some of the deals that they're linked to. And then let's take a look at gross profit and some of these profitability metrics. So gross profit margin is at 7.95%. For those that don't know, this basically just tells me what the company makes when it sells its good or service. In this case, it's a good. So this is basically revenue minus cost of goods sold, and this number tells you that when they're selling goods and services, they're profitable. They're making money for everything that they sell. The issue is they have some other costs. Obviously they have research and development costs. They have permitting costs. So there's a lot of other costs that go along with kind of running this business. That's why they're not profitable. But once they are able to grow their revenue and grow their book of business, well, they do have a business that is profitable, which is good, which is always good to see, right? You never want to invest in a business that doesn't have the ability to be profitable, right? So that's good to see. And then cash per share is at $3.17, and that's pretty solid. That's almost a third of the company in cash. So over 30% of the market cap is in cash today, which I think gives the stock a firm floor and really gives investors a sense of stability when you're investing in the stock. And that's always important to see, because you always want to see that a stock has the cash on hand to fund its operations in the future, which LUNR definitely does. I just made that name up based on the ticker, but you get the gist of all this. So in Intuitive Machines, I believe this company has what I would refer to asymmetrical risk. And then quickly, there are 2 buy ratings and 1 overweight rating, which basically just tells me that there are 3 bullish ratings on the stock right now and no sell ratings, which is a great thing to see for shares and shows you that Wall Street is very bullish on this stock right now. So awesome to see there. We see Canaccord too have a price target of $20 on shares. We see another price target of $20 on shares, and then another price target of 11. So Wall Street thinks that the stock is trading below where it should be right now, which is awesome to see. Love to see that the stock is being looked at as a very, very bullish, opportunity for shareholders. So Wall Street's bullish. I'm bullish. Short interest looks bullish. The chart, once we get over about $11, looks extremely bullish, or we come down to that 50 DMA, like I said. So you add it all up, I feel pretty confident that this is a very good stock to own. So with that being said, I'm bullish. This stock, I am very, very bullish on the general space and space sector. Really a new sector, obviously. So add it all together, Intuitive Machines, I'm very bullish on this company. So with that being said, I'll end the video there. If you got some value from this video, please leave a like. We post company breakdowns and important market moving news on this channel on a daily basis, so make sure you are subscribed. If you would like to receive my daily portfolio moves, my exits, my entries, and see how me and my team of analysts are trading the markets, join the Discord through the link in the description below to get our free 7-day trial. Also, if you would like to join our free daily newsletter, sign up to our Substack, which is linked below as well. With that being said, good luck everyone. Happy trading, happy investing.